Benny Andersson, known for his work with ABBA, is one of the most influential yet understated figures in the history of pop music. His story, unlike the glittering fame of his bandmates, is not one of flashy lights or front-page headlines, but rather of dedication, emotional depth, and a lifelong commitment to the craft of music. Born on December 16, 1946 in Stockholm, Benny's musical journey began humbly in a working-class family where his love for music was fostered early on. Introduced to the accordion at age 6 by his father and grandfather, Benny quickly developed an ear for melody, teaching himself to play the piano by ear. His musical interests leaned more towards the inner workings of music than the fame it might bring. He was fascinated by how music could be built, layered, and structured, often immersing himself in the finer details that made a song resonate with people. The rise of ABBA, crafting hits from the shadows. Before ABBA's worldwide success, Benny was already establishing himself as a highly skilled musician and composer. In the 1960s, he joined the Swedish rock band Stars, which helped shape his understanding of pop music and the mechanics of successful songwriting. It was in the mid-1960s, however, when Benny met lyricist Björn Ulvaeus, leading to a collaboration that would eventually birth ABBA. Their partnership not only revolutionized the music scene but also cemented Benny's place as the mastermind behind ABBA's distinctive sound. Benny's studio genius and keen sense of arrangement brought depth and sophistication to ABBA's music. His meticulous work with melodies, harmonies, and instrumentation became the foundation upon which ABBA's success was built. Songs like Dancing Queen and The Winner Takes It All are not just pop hits. They are masterworks of emotional precision and musical complexity, thanks to Benny's invisible hand. The silent architect of ABBA's signature sound. Though ABBA's frontmen, Agnetha Fältskog and Annie Fried Lyngstad, garnered much of the attention for their on-stage performances, Benny's influence was far more pervasive. His perfectionism in the studio, patience in crafting harmonies, and his ability to evoke deep emotional resonance through sound made him the true architect of ABBA's legacy. He was obsessed with creating timeless music, often spending hours fine-tuning a single harmony until it felt just right. His keen attention to emotional nuance gave ABBA's songs a unique duality: cheerful melodies with sorrowful undertones. Tracks like Knowing Me, Knowing You, and Fernando encapsulate this blend of joy and melancholy, a signature style that became Benny's musical trademark. He was more interested in emotional depth than fleeting trends, and this is why ABBA's music still resonates with listeners decades later. The strain behind the glittering facade. Despite their public image as the world's most glamorous pop group, the internal dynamics of ABBA were much more complex. The 1970s brought fame and fortune, but behind the scenes, personal relationships were beginning to unravel. The first crack came in 1979 when Björn and Agnetha, who had once been married, divorced. This separation had a deep impact on the group's morale, even as they continued to work on their album Super Trooper. As the group moved forward, tensions were simmering under the surface. Benny and his wife, Annie Fried, followed a similar path in 1981, leading to a difficult and emotionally charged time for the band. Benny's obsessive focus on his work in the studio often came at the cost of his emotional availability at home, leaving Annie Fried feeling neglected and eventually contributing to their separation. Their emotional distance, although not explosive, gradually led to the band's decline. Benny's honest reflection on ABBA's final years. In an interview with Billboard in April 2025, Benny went deeper into the band's final years, revealing how the creative process had started to feel like a job rather than a passion. What had once been a vibrant collaboration had turned into a routine. Writing and recording became more difficult, and the joy that had once fueled the group's work was replaced by a sense of obligation. Benny described the last 2 years as uninspired, and it became clear that the group's decision to stop was a natural consequence of emotional and creative burnout. The fact that Benny didn't place blame on any one member of the band, but spoke of the end as an inevitable unraveling showed the depth of his understanding. The music was no longer an escape or a source of joy. It had become a burden. Benny's revelations gave fans a new perspective on ABBA's final albums, which were filled with melancholic undertones. The sadness in these songs was not just artistic choice, it was a reflection of the emotional collapse the band members were experiencing. The healing power of Benny's truth. Benny's decision to share his truth was not just a moment of honesty, it was a moment of healing. Fans who had long wondered about ABBA's mysterious end finally received the answers they needed. The quiet, emotionally charged songs from the Visitors were no longer just reflections of a shifting music scene. They were a reflection of the band's internal struggles. By acknowledging the exhaustion and emotional toll the band faced, Benny allowed fans to understand that the silence in ABBA's final years was not just a product of disbandment, but a necessity for their mental and emotional well-being. The painful truth behind ABBA's final songs now had a name: exhaustion. And in telling this story, Benny gave the band and their fans the closure they had long been denied. Frida's path through grief and royalty. After ABBA's disbandment, Annie Frida Lyngstad, took a path few expected. In 1992, she married Prince Heinrich Russo of Plauen, becoming a member of European royalty. The media went into a frenzy as she left behind the glitzy world of pop stardom for life in a Swiss castle. However, the reality of royalty was far from the fairy tale it seemed. Frida struggled with the rigid expectations and formality of aristocratic life. Yet her greatest heartache came in 1998, when her daughter Annalisa died in a tragic car accident in New York. At just 30 years old, her death left Frida devastated. The woman who once commanded the stage now sought solitude in her grief, far removed from the public eye. Despite the glitz and glamour of her new life, the pain of her loss was unbearable. Benny's quiet reconnection with Frida. In the midst of Frida's grief, it was Benny who reappeared in her life. Though their personal relationship had ended years ago, their shared history as bandmates in ABBA offered a unique kind of comfort that no one else could provide. The two reached out to each other, offering solace in their shared understanding of the pain and sacrifices they had both experienced. Their quiet reconnection wasn't about reliving the glory days of ABBA, but about finding peace in the understanding that only two people who had seen everything unravel could truly share. For Frida, this moment of reconnection allowed her to find comfort in simply being remembered by someone who had known her before the fame and tragedy. ABBA's return, a new beginning with ABBA Voyage. In 2018, after decades of silence, ABBA shocked the world by announcing their reunion to record 2 new songs. This move marked not only the return of the band, but also the beginning of an ambitious new project, ABBA Voyage. The digital performance, which utilized motion capture technology to recreate the band's 1979 selves, was a groundbreaking success. The live shows, held in a specially built arena in London, sold over 1.3 million tickets worldwide. Despite being offered $1 billion for a traditional live tour, Benny and the band chose to redefine what a concert could be. With the use of avatars, they were able to transcend their past while still delivering an authentic performance that was emotionally precise and true to their music. Benny's final reflection on ABBA's legacy now. At 78, Benny Andersson reflects on ABBA's legacy with a sense of calm. In recent interviews, he has spoken openly about the emotional weight that his music carried and how he used music as an escape from pain. He once admitted, "I gave my best lines to songs, not to the people who needed to hear them from me." This simple yet profound admission redefines everything we thought we knew about Benny. Far from being the stoic figure behind the scenes, he was a man who struggled with his own fragility. The truth of ABBA's music lies not in perfection, but in the emotional survival of its creators. Their songs weren't just carefully crafted pop anthems, they were real, messy, and raw. And Benny's decision to finally share these truths offers the closure that both the band and their fans have long needed.